Hello everyone. How are we doing? Good to see you all. Game week 13 is tomorrow. Lot of you on free hit as well. I'm not, which is a little bit gutting, I have to say, considering some of the free hit squads I'm seeing. But I hope you're all well. I hope you're enjoying Friday evening. I certainly am. I hit 5,000 subscribers today. That is mad. I've been absolutely buzzing all day. I hit it earlier today. I was really nervous that I'd hit it during the stream, and one, I wouldn't know how to react, and two, during a stream, subscribers like ebb and flow, so you could hit it and then go back under it. It'd be really embarrassing. Anyway, we're there now, so thank you everyone so much for all of your support up to this point. 2.5 years into the channel, we've hit 5k. Let's go and hit 10k next, I guess, but that'll be a little while yet. It's good to see so many of you in the chat already as well. Hi, Aaron. Hope you're well, mate. Abdel as well. A few other people in the chat. I'll get round to asking your questions very shortly. So if you've got any questions, whether it's about free hit, triple captain, or just regular transfers, benching headaches, you name it, I'm here to help you out as best as I possibly can anyway. And we'll talk about my team a little bit if it's interesting to you guys as well. And I am here with a beer today to celebrate hitting 5k too. So I hope that's okay for everyone. Do say hi in the chat. Do get involved. It's always good to talk to as many of you as possible on a Friday evening. And as always, I'm really appreciative that you've chosen to spend a part of your Friday with me. So let's start off from the top. Aaron, good to see you. Hopefully you enjoy the stream. Abdul as well. Evening, mate. I see you've got your wildcard team in there as well. We'll go through that now. Wildcard team, Verbruggen with Dubravka, Timber, Calafiori, Lacroix, O'Reilly, Esteve, Saka, Foden, Rogers, Minter, Anderson. Minter and Anderson are my two options for transfers in this week. I've already made one of my two moves, but those are the other two. And then Haaland, Thiago, Mateta. That is the front three I'd be going with. Do you have bench boost left, by the way? Just checking. But that is the front three I'd be going with. No question about it right now. Although a little bit scared of Mateta's minutes, given he's been subbed off early twice in a row now. And like not just early, properly early, like 60 minutes early. But maybe that was to conserve him for this quite busy week. For Bruggen with Dubravka, I think works well. I think they rotate quite nicely as two keepers. Timber Calafiori, I reckon both of them miss a game at some point, but they're both good picks still. Lacroix will get 90 minutes every single week until he gets injured, which is never, or so far never. O'Reilly, little bit risky on minutes, but so far so good. Again, he's definitely in their preferred starting 11. Saka. Foden is interesting on a wild card. I don't know if I'd be confident enough on him on a wild card, but I don't mind it for this week, especially if you've got some transfers ready to get rid of him in a couple of weeks, then I think that's fine. Rodgers as well. I'm not sure he'd make it on a wild card for me. Great for a free hit. And if you've got 4 or 5 free transfers to use before we get reloaded, then you can take a couple of like 1-2 week punts there. But yeah, not bad picks for this week by any means. And Minter and Anderson, I think, are both good long-term picks as well. So yeah, I've just seen Rodgers to Mbeumo in game week 14. Do mind out on Mbeumo because we might lose him pretty soon. So you might not have too many weeks with him because of AFCON, of course. But we get those 5 free transfers as well. So you can always get rid of him pretty quickly as well. But overall, yeah, looking pretty good. 1.8 in the bank. Rodgers up to Mbeumo, yeah. Make sure you don't get priced out of that. That will get pretty tight on pricing, I think. If Mbeumo rises once or twice, then that might get tricky, but I'm sure you've got that covered for now. James asks, hey James, by the way, how are you? Can someone remind me of the advantages of free hit 16? Because I'm lazy and can't be bothered to look it up. I mean, at this point, there are no like tangible advantages to any specific week in the next few weeks. I suppose with game week 16, it is a pretty strong week for a lot of teams, like a lot of good teams. So if we go across, we'll get the fixtures up here. You've got Chelsea at home to Everton, Liverpool at home to Brighton, you've got Arsenal at home to Wolves, and then it is also a week where you can get rid of Man City or I suppose not many of us have loads of Man City, mainly just Erling Haaland, but you can take him on because Crystal Palace are a good defence, especially at home. However, what I would say with Game Week 16 on a free hit is, one, you won't be able to make like long-term transfers that week, the week that everyone else gets 5 free transfers for the first time. And I do imagine that week will be pretty volatile on pricing. So let's say you free hit in Game Week 16, and there are 2 or 3 players that just end up being really hot transfers in for anyone who's not free hitting. Those players will probably rise in price once or twice, maybe even 3 times if you're unlucky. And there might be quite a few different players because everyone gets 5 free transfers. Now, the engaged community probably won't go out and spend all of those 5 free transfers, but we're not just fighting against the engaged community when we're talking about player value, because everyone will have those 5 free transfers. So the disadvantage, I suppose, is that you don't get to follow the pricing, but a lot of that pricing will be very reactive and it might not be players that you're interested in anyway. So I wouldn't let that put you off. The other factor here is, like I said, good teams have good fixtures, especially at home as well. So you can pile in on Liverpool, you can pile in on Chelsea, who will have Palmer back. Looks like he's going to be in the matchday squad tomorrow, but obviously good home fixture. No one will really own him. Arsenal, you can get the triple up you want, and you can get rid of Haaland away at Crystal Palace if you wanted to take him on. Now, that, of course, has a lot of risk attached to it, but it is a good week to free hit. All I would say is that in this week, having looked at what my free hit draft might look like if I was free hitting in 16 or 13, there are way more differences to my starting 11 in game week 13 than there are in game week 16. Now, that's not a problem, but it does mean that there's less upside in 16, because I think by the time we get there, a lot of us will have maybe 5, possibly 6 of the free hit side picks covered. And because we've got 5 free transfers, people can be more reactive and get across to players that are really good for that week as well. So it is a good week. There's less risk attached to it because it won't be that different from, there might be 5 or 6 players different to what the template is. but it won't be quite as powerful in terms of potential upside. So it depends how you want to play the game. Like the problem with free hit this week, if you call it a problem, is that it could go really, really well, or it could potentially go really, really badly, because you're getting rid of some really high ownership players who, okay, they don't have the best fixtures. If we look at my team, you've got Semenyo, Saka, Bruno Fernandes and Burmo. You've got Arsenal defence, Crystal Palace defence, Bournemouth defence. None of them are like objectively better than the picks that are being picked on free hit this week. But they're also players that can do well in any game week. And the players that people are bringing in could do really well, or they might blank. It's perfectly plausible. So it could go either way. So there's higher upside and downside this week. But I think it's worth going for. And if I had a free hit to play, given my current side, and my side has a lot of players that a lot of other people have, I think I'd probably go with free hit 13 over 16 because of the potential for upside. Of course, it could go wrong, but that's true of pretty much any game week. So yeah, hopefully that explains the advantages and maybe disadvantages of free hit 16 for you, James. But yeah, sorry to ramble on about that because I don't think I covered that well enough in a video earlier this week. I've had that sort of saved up in my brain for a little bit too long. Who to bench this game week for Abdul? Let me go back to your wildcard side. Bench this week, I mean, it's a strong... Estev for sure, Dubravka for sure. Probably one of Calafiori or Timber. Probably Calafiori. I don't love that. And then probably Minter, which sounds crazy as well, but I'd probably go 3-4-3. But yeah, because you're on wildcard, you're always bound to have a couple of really good picks on the bench first week. It's just the way it goes. Evening all. Mayday, good to see you in the chat. Aaron Take says, I'm playing my Limitless. What's Limitless? I'll be making a couple of questions if you don't mind. But first, I'm really considering going against Salah and picking Saka instead. By Limitless, I'm assuming you mean free hit, I suppose. I think I understand why people are going without Salah at the moment because he's been pretty awful, honestly. But I think one of the main... I made a bit of a joke, a bit too sarcastic almost on Twitter X yesterday. But I think one of the main benefits of free hitting is to go all in on Liverpool. As bad as they've been, they are up against West Ham, and it's almost like if you don't have confidence in Liverpool this week, it's probably not a week to be free hitting, that in my opinion, because and that's perfectly fine. Like, you can have no confidence in Liverpool as well this week, that's fine, but in that case the upside of free hit is massively damaged because Saka's a pretty popular pick anyway and he's growing in ownership. So, and he's more accessible than Salah is, whereas the benefit of a free hit is to get loads of players that you couldn't otherwise get to. So I'm jealous of free hit this week because they're able to get obviously the other 7-8 picks as well, but also because they can get Liverpool players that otherwise I'm just not that bothered by. And okay, they've been bad, but if I had to place money on either team winning this week out of Liverpool, West Ham, it would be on Liverpool over West Ham. So I understand why people wouldn't go there, and it's why I have hesitations on free hit this week myself. Obviously, I don't have it to play, so it's not a problem for me. But I would almost be free hitting because I did have confidence in Liverpool enough to back them. So I would personally be picking Salah on a free hit because as bad as he's been, the data's still been good. Liverpool's attacking data's still not been terrible. And as much as we love to laugh at a really big team doing really badly, and they have been doing really badly, of course, there is still enough about them to suggest that they could start turning a corner at any point and they could start scoring goals. And the West Ham have not been a great defence either. So I would personally, if I was free hitting, I would back them. That's just my take on it though. So yeah, Abdul, used it in game week 11 for Anderson penalty return. That is lovely. I might be buying Anderson this week. Not that I think that he's going to have penalties every time, but that is a little benefit as well. Play 2 of Rory Mack in the chat. Good to see you. Play 2 of Senesi, Keane, or Enzo. Senesi away at Sunderland, I like. Should pick up Defcon. Decent fixture for a clean sheet, so I'd probably start him. Keane will. Who does Keane have? Am I being a bit dense? Hang on, let's go back. Keane has Newcastle at home. Okay. Keane's been good on Defcon. Probably Senesi and Keane. Although, it's basically, do you think Palmer will start? Because if Palmer doesn't start, then Enzo at least has penalties, or should have penalties. I reckon Palmer's ready to go. And with that in mind, Enzo probably drops a bit deeper, probably doesn't have penalties anymore, and obviously has a really tough fixture as well. So I think Senesi and Keane, because I think they'll both hit Defcon. One of them will probably get a clean sheet, you would think. Like, out of the two of them, you think one of them. Rory also asks thoughts on Enzo as a long-term hold. So I have my own question on this for my team. So I've used one of my 2 free transfers on João Pedro to Thiago. My intention is currently to also sell Enzo for one of Minter or Anderson. Anderson helps me afford other transfers next week. So it's not just a head-to-head. There's also repercussions and follow-ons. But with Enzo, it's quite a complicated situation because actually, all things considered, I don't think he's a player to really desperately sell. But over the next week, I have reservations about him. So Arsenal is not a nice fixture. Palmer's back either this week or in the midweek after. He'll lose penalties. And then there's also the question mark around, well, will he probably get benched or maybe get reduced minutes against Leeds, considering, I mean, it's not an easy fixture by any means. Leeds fans will tell you as much, of course. But out of the next 3, if he had to get reduced minutes in one of them, Arsenal, Leeds, Bournemouth, it's going to be the Leeds game. And Maresca is known for doing a bit of that in the midweek games. I think he rotated quite heavily this time last season as well. So given Enzo's been struggling for fitness a little bit, I think the next 2 games are really sketchy for him. And therefore, I'm personally getting rid of him for now. And then I might get a route back to him in game week 16 when I get the 5 free transfers, because I'll need to sell Ismail Assar and I'll have the 5 free transfers to use anyway. So maybe there's a route back to him that I like at that point. So long answer to a short question. I'm sorry, but very, very short term, not great. Medium to long term, good hold. So it's, can you survive the next 2 weeks? And are you happy enough with him or confident enough with him for Arsenal? And then are you confident he starts against Leeds? If you are, I say hold on to him. If you're not, I could absolutely get on board with selling him, because Arsenal and Bournemouth are not easy games anyway. If you think he's going to get reduced minutes in the middle of those 2, then 3 game weeks is long enough for me to be getting rid of him. And I am probably doing so. Hopefully that answers your question. Sorry if it doesn't. Gas in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, thank you very much for helping me on my way to hit 5k as well. I've forgotten. I always do to forget to have a drink, but I will do so today, because it's not every day you hit 5k. So thank you very, very much, everyone who subscribed. And if you wanted to join the fun, that subscribe button is right there as well. And I do try to do weekly live streams. Next week might be a bit more difficult with 3 game weeks in a week, but you know, we'll figure it out. Dan asks, hello Sam, brought in O'Reilly this week and on triple captain. Love triple captain this week. I think Haaland absolutely smashes it. Just trying to decide who to start between Enzo and Voltemada. I'd go Voltemada, I think. How's Gordon's fitness looking? How are we looking on minutes for Gordon? Still yellow flagged. Although, I mean, he played in midweek, did he not? Let's go sofa score quickly. I wouldn't normally do this on a stream, but I'm going to this time. He played against Marseille. I swear he played through the middle. He did, yeah. Why is he still yellow flagged? That's weird. Played 72 minutes. Given that, I would go Voltemada personally. I think Gordon's unlikely to play 90, and given Barnes's form, they'll swap with each other. So Voltemada, again, given that he was benched midweek, I think he'll play the 90. Gordon's unlikely to, so Voltemade will get penalties at some point. Enzo just has a tougher fixture. He's playing deeper. Voltemade is really starting to click now and getting a load of shots against Man City. Maybe made me a little bit jealous of the fact that I sold him. I actually really like him moving forward. If you look at the fixtures as well, and I know your question isn't around who to hold on to long term, but the fixtures are good for a long while. I'd go Voltemade, I think. Penalty taking striker, at least when Gordon's not on the pitch. Question in the chat: want to bench boost with Bruno, Bumo? Okay, this is your full team, not just bench boost. Okay, but I have Alderete and only one free transfer. Enzo to Sharda and hope Alderete plays, or B, Alderete to someone and hope Enzo returns. Alderete has been out for a little while now. How much money have you got in the bank? Because if you've got a bit of money in the bank, I'd probably go the Alderete move, and Enzo's never a bad pick, and he will play against Arsenal. So you're looking at 2 points minimum, whereas with Alderete, you could be looking at 0. So, I mean, he probably comes back in, but can you guarantee it? I don't think you can. So I'd probably make the Alderete move if you can, just to guarantee yourself 15 players. I think a guarantee of 15 is more important than optimizing Enzo to Sharda, especially because Sharda, in my personal opinion, isn't a player I'd want long-term anyway, whereas Enzo Fernandez, potentially, as I just mentioned, short-term, not amazing, but long-term, probably a decent hold. I mean, Sharda's great for this week and obviously great upside, but your bench boost isn't just about the bench boost itself, it's also about planning ahead. So I think it gives you more grief down the line, given that he's got Arsenal followed by Spurs afterwards. So I'd probably, if you've got some money in the bank, I'd go Alderete to someone. Where are we? So many messages. Thank you so much, guys. I'm trying to catch up to them all. I do ramble on for far too long with every question. What would your free hit 13 draft look like? I will come on to that in a minute because I do have a draft prepared for you. I made a video on it earlier, but I'll bring it across to the screen in a moment. But I'll catch up with the chat first and come back to it. How do you do? Hope you're well. Yeah, very well, thank you, mate. How are you? That's the important question on this. I was about to say lovely Friday evening, but it's actually raining here, so maybe not so lovely. Good evening, Hippie. Yeah, good to see you in the chat, mate. Good. Hope you're having a good Friday. Fact, congrats on 5k. Yeah, a few people congratulating me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, thank you all. Genuinely. 2.5 years ago, I didn't think anyone would watch any of these videos. So it's genuinely amazing that people are still tuning in, and it just makes me want to do even more of it, and more live streams, more content, trying to help people out as much as I can. I just like talking about FPL, to be honest. So yeah, long may it continue. Andrew in the chat as well, free hit triggered, gone for a risky pick with Isak over Salah. Well, I mean, if Ekatike's a doubt, and it looks like he is, Isak should play, and Slot's pretty determined to play Isak into form against West Ham. Could he return? Yeah, he absolutely could. No one's going to have him either. So, I mean, it's high differential. I mean, I've already talked about it. I would have Salah on a free hit draft, but Isak's got high upside. If you're playing it different, then no problem with that at all. Focal in the chat as well. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. Congrats on 5k. Thank you so much. Yeah, really appreciate that, mate. A long way to go yet to get to the dizzying heights of you guys up in the hundreds, but yeah, really enjoying it, and yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, and as always, appreciate you tuning in. Say hi to Focal in the chat, everyone. Dan as well asking, I could also, not so much asking, I could also play 4-4-2 and play Tarko instead of Enzo and Volt, and Volt, by the way. I think I'd play Voltemade over Tarko, just about. But all three are decent. None of them are bad options. But yeah, I think gut call, I would go Voltemade over Tarko and Enzo, personally. Enzo to Gakpo for a hit. Not for a hit, Michael. I don't think. I would... And like Gakpo's probably a better pick this week, but probably not hit worthy, especially because Gakpo's minutes long term not looking great. I mean, I say that his minutes have actually been pretty good, but basically, long story short, we've heard rumours that Isak's being tested out on the left. Wirtz was injured last week, hence why Gakpo got 90, but Wirtz could start getting minutes very shortly. Gakpo this week looks great, but longer term, not so much, especially with 3 games in a week. I probably wouldn't do it for a hit. That doesn't look like one of Tom's 13.5% proof specials. No, it's Angelo Moretti, 4.8. That's quite strong for a lager, actually, but no, not 13.5. I still want to be speaking sense during this live stream, so yeah, I can't go for the strong stuff just yet. And just like that, I start slurring my words. Congratulations on hitting 5k. Well deserved. Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your support always. Start Timber or Enzo? I'd start Timber, I think. Arsenal defence, I'd always want some coverage there. And I was talking to a colleague earlier about this very game earlier today. I think it'll be a great game. Bit of a tactical battle more than like a great game in terms of loads of chances and loads of goals. But I can see Chelsea scoring in this game. I don't think Arsenal will have it all their own way because Chelsea have been good recently. But I think Arsenal have just been so good defensively. And Timber also, it's not like Timber's just a defensive asset. We saw it in the Champions League. He can get attacking returns. Obviously, he got an assist in the Spurs game as well. He gets into crazy positions in the attacking third. I think I'd go Enzo. Sorry, Timber. I think I'd go Timber, Enzo benched. Yeah, that would probably be the way I play it. This would be my midfield, says Aaron. Salah, Henderson, and sorry, God. Just as I start saying I'm not going to slur my words, I'll start doing it. Salah, Anderson, Rodgers, Foden, Caicedo. Would you change anything? I'm considering Mateta to replace one of them, or if you think I should play a 5-man midfield. Well, actually, this is probably a good time to move across to... where is it? Oh, it's on my pre-record. That's annoying. Sorry. So basically, I haven't set it up properly, but hopefully you can all see it. Let me just reduce myself in the corner. Yeah, my bad. Anyway, here it is. My free hit draft. I don't think I've changed anything in my own personal opinion since... When did I release this? Wednesday? So I would probably go 5-man midfield. I think Mateta probably gets reduced minutes again. Or if he doesn't, then he's a problem for game week 14. I would go with a 5-man midfield and go Haaland and Thiago up top, and then I would go all in on a free hit and go Gakpo Salah as a double for Liverpool midfield. That being said, I don't think Gakpo's a great transfer in. I think on a free hit, he's perfectly fine for 1 week only. I'd go with a Man City attacker alongside Haaland, and I would also go with Rodgers and Schade. So, yeah, for me, it would be a 5-man midfield. This is probably still what I'd be going with on a free hit. I'd want a little bit of Palace, so I've gone with Munoz, because although he is a defensive asset, he's also got plenty of attacking threat, so it covers me off both ways. Bit of Aston Villa and Brentford coverage in defence. O'Reilly just seems like a logical pick. Yeah, that would be the way I play it right now. Just seen a super chat for £10. Who's done that? That is crazy. Thank you very much. Who is it? C-Mac again. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate that. I'm going to give that a little heart. Let's answer that first and foremost. If it's even a question. Is it a question? Loving the content as always. Congrats on 5k. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate that. And thank you so much for the contribution. Can you rate my free hit team? Absolutely. We're on the right section for it. Martinez, O'Reilly, Munoz, Cash. I mean, this is looking great. I've got on screen here, very, very similar. So yeah, I can absolutely rate it. So yeah, one debate I had with my co-host on who got the assist was, would you go Martinez or Kelleher? Martinez or Kelleher or Cash or a Brentford defender. So, I mean, on here, I've gone Kelleher with Cash because I like Cash for the attacking upside. But it is worth noting that Aston Villa obviously played midweek. Cash isn't good on the Defcons. So I think if you're not massively convinced on Foden and you want to take a bit more of a punt on Doku, which is perfectly valid on a free hit, not much in it at all. And Luke, who is very good on predicting Man City, does expect Doku to start, as do all of the predictors for Jump the Wave, which again, great way of figuring out what the crowd is thinking. Yeah, Doku seems fairly safe. So a bit more expensive to have Martinez alongside. I mean, you've gone double Villa defense there rather than any Brentford coverage. So if I was to change anything, it would probably be, instead of Cash, maybe go with Vandenberg or something. Just to spread a little bit. Although doubling down on Aston Villa, obviously it's a great fixture, so I've got no hatred for that whatsoever. But Brentford against Burnley does seem like a decent clean sheet fixture as well. So yeah, that would maybe be the only thing, like literally the only thing I change. As you can see, my free hit draft is very similar, with maybe, I think, is that one change? It might two changes. So I've got Kelleher and Foden. You've got Martinez and Doku. That we're talking very minor tweaks here. But if you back Doku, yeah, no problem whatsoever. It's a really strong free hit. And if I had free hit this week, I'd be playing something extremely similar. So, and I would also probably free hit if I had the choice. But I don't, so I'm going to have to go up against it. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question, mate. Thank you so much again. I've not only hearted it, I've also given it a like, because I do really appreciate it. Not that that makes much difference, giving it a like, but yeah, hopefully you hear my appreciation, because I really do. Okay. Got some, so Cats in the chat says, got some money, so could go Collins or something. Yeah, Collins is good. I like that. Is Thiago captain valid? It's valid. He would be in my top 3 for captains this week, probably behind Haaland and Salah, but it's valid. Not too differential for me personally. Let me go back to my live screen because I prefer it, because it's all formatted correctly. Let me go back to my team actually whilst we're here. It's valid. If you want to be differential, fair enough. He's in my top 3, but I wouldn't personally be betting against Haaland this week. I genuinely think Haaland gets a big haul against Leeds, and I'm quite jealous of anyone who's got the triple captain left. Although, to be fair, I got 17, 16? Was it 16 or 17? I can't remember. I got points from him. Was it? Yeah, 16 against Burnley, 2 goals, 1 assist. So yeah, very, very fortunate. And I think he does really well this week as well. So I think it could really pay off. Hi there, what do you think of this free hit team? Have I already answered that? I might have done. Possibly not. But Martinez, Collins, Munoz, Gvardiol, Fernandez in there, Barnes, some really good differentials in there. I think, again, 1 or 2 players different to what I've picked if I was free hitting. So yeah, really strong. Fernandez is never a bad pick. Barnes is differential. I'd be a little bit scared of the minutes because Gordon's back. But yeah, it's really strong as a total. Can't really fault it. I'd give it maybe an 8 out of 10 just because of Barnes as a little bit of a risk, but he's got high upside as well. But yeah, that looks very similar to a lot of the really good free hit drafts that I've seen. Should I play double Brentford with Collins and Vandenberg or double Villa with Martinez and Cash? Good excuse, because there's not much in it, but good excuse to have a look at the current clean sheet odds on Sodio. I mean, they're bang even. I'm going to have to gut call this one. I think... Oh, God, that's a really tough one. Look, personally, as an FPL manager who's quite cautious and plays on the fence a little bit, I would probably spread your risk with one of each, because I still think compound ownership, you'll get a benefit out of just having one of each. But if you want to go all in on one of them and hope that the other clean sheet doesn't go through, if I was really pressed to pick one, I think I'd go Villa. I think I'd go double Villa. Because there are 2 other Brentford attackers that I'd pick. That would be why. So yeah, I think that's the way I'd play it. So if you went double Brentford defense, you're locking yourself out of one of Thiago or Shada, or maybe a Dango Altara. Whereas with Villa, I would confidently pick maybe one of Rodgers or Marlon, more likely Rodgers, and then I've got 2 spaces left over for Villa on defense. That would be my logic that I'd apply to it. Would I have used free hit if I still had it? Probably, yeah, probably. But I also equally at the same time, I'm not scared of how my team looks this week, if that makes sense. Like, I think free hit is better, and if I had it, I'd play it and attack the upside. But equally, I've seen plenty of weeks where I've gone in with a team that looks equivalent to this with relatively same fixtures, and I've been fine. So I'm not scared of it, but also equally there is upside on free hit, so I wouldn't hesitate to play it if you had it. But of course, as I've mentioned, there is risk attached. Currently 5 million in rank. I'm wondering to take a -4 hit from either Semenyo or Ndai to Doku. What do you think? I personally wouldn't bother. I'm not for a -4. Doku's. I mean, you've reached you've reached a guy who isn't like anti Doku, because I think he's a great player. But in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you're going to want to sell him, because the minutes just aren't there. Like, he's getting 70-ish minutes a match at the moment, and that's great right now, and probably good enough to punt on him on a free hit. But he's going to start winding players up, or managers up, in a few weeks, when he gets the odd random benching, or misses the midweek game, or gets brought off a little bit too early for your liking after a blank and gets a 60-minute sub. Semenyo and Ndai, both on penalties, both get really good minutes. I would stick with both of them and die until AFCON, and then obviously you can get rid of him then, but I'd hold on to both of them. Definitely not for a -4. What 3 Arsenal players would you choose if they were all fit, asks Martin. The quest for 6k subscribers is on. It absolutely is. He says I deserve it. I will leave that down to you, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. And yeah, hopefully 6k by Christmas now. That would be great. If I was choosing 3 Arsenal players right now, I would go Timber, no doubt, probably still Saka, and then that third pick is really up for grabs. It could literally be any of Saliba, Raya, Eze, Rice. I think I'd go Rice, I've just got a bit of a feeling. I know the data's not been amazing, but his set piece delivery is so good. He gets 90 minutes a week. He's decent on the bonus points. I think he just keeps ticking along. And I know he's not exciting, but if every other week he can bag something, like whether that's DEFCON, which he's been doing better on recently, whether that's an assist from a corner, again, like the data's actually not been bad at all recently. 0.44, 0.11, 0.98, 0.57, 0.27, 0.67. Always takes a shot every week, pretty much. I mean, Newcastle, Man City, okay, fair enough, back then he didn't. But he's taking shots, he's getting into good positions, he's getting assist threat. Tight call. I think I might go Rice now. But double Arsenal defense is equally still very, very solid. Kieran in the chat as well. Sorry, I'm really far behind on messages today. Thank you so much again for all joining and all asking questions. Evening, Mr. 5K. Hope you're well. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm absolutely buzzing, mate. Really. Such a exciting day to hit 5k, and knowing that I'm live streaming as well. Another reminder to have another sip. But yeah, thank you all. And Kieran, thank you for your support, mate. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well as well. In retrospect, would you have preferred to get your chips out of the way relatively early, say by game week 6, and then be free to make moves without considering how they work for chips? Very good question. Well, I guess I'm a bit of an edge case on this, because I got all my chips out of the way by game week 8 without really even... Actually, no, that's a lie. I got bench boosted a couple of weeks ago. What week did I bench boost? Game week... Was it game week 10? I think it was game week 10. Hang on. Oh, dear. What is wrong with me? Points. We'll go back. It was game week 11. Of course it was. It went awfully. We don't need to see that. Went terribly, terribly badly. Yeah. Okay. I think if they do the chips the same way next year, bench boost, I would try to get out of the way early if I can, but only if the fixtures line up. I wouldn't force it. Free hit, I think, is fine to wait to a week that, as long as you plan around it relatively well to make sure it lines up, I think is fine to wait. I don't think you need to get it out of the way early to avoid other future plans. I think it's one of those that at some point there will just come a week where it makes a little bit more sense naturally. So I wouldn't heavily plan for it. Triple captain, I don't think it needs any planning really, because every week you're likely to have one of the best captains. So there's never a bad week to have it. And in the first half of the season, there will be at least 4 or 5 really good opportunities with one of Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Saka. They will all have good fixtures at some point. So again, probably doesn't need planning. The one that does is probably wildcard. But I don't think you need to get it out of the way early. I understand that it is a bit of an annoyance having loads of chips left by this point because it does give you extra planning. And I quite like the position I'm in with a bit of freedom to just play kind of week to week in a way. And I suppose it's not week to week because I do forward plan a lot, but it does give me that freedom to simplify my process. But no, I don't. It answering your question honestly, I don't think I, in retrospect, would have intentionally got them out the way early for the sake of it, other than maybe bench boost. Bench boost is the one that I look back on and think, yeah, there were some good opportunities that I thought, you know what, I can wait for a later opportunity because there'll be a better one. When actually, I think as long as I've got 15 fit players and they've got decent fixtures, and I'm talking like not away at Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal kind of thing, as long as they've got okay fixtures and I know that they're all fit, I'd probably get that one out the way early. Because that's the one for me that always causes me the most ache week to week if I'm trying to plan around it, because it means that transfers need to get applied to your full 15 rather than just your 11. Whereas now I've only got maybe 12 players I even need to worry about, possibly 13 week to week. So it simplifies my process a bit. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Going to catch up on the chat a little bit now. Sorry, it's moved so fast. So again, if I miss your question, drop it back in the chat and I'll try and get back round to it. But I do apologize if I missed any. I don't know how the big YouTubers do it, by the way, especially on a live stream. No idea how they keep up with it all, because I'm watching it just scroll and scroll and scroll. It's very difficult. Anyone else worth holding until wildcard 2? Oh, sorry, I must have missed a bit there. Goalkeeper from game week 14 onwards. Just go Raya, I think. I think if you're looking for a long-term hold, Raya's the guy. I don't hate owning Nick Pope, but some Newcastle fans think he's going to get benched this week, which would be a disaster for me, really. I mean, Dubravka playing every week helps, and it's not a disaster this week, but it means I'd probably have to move him out soon. I would go Raya, I think. If I was looking at any sort of long-term hold, like Raya's fixtures now look great. I mean, Chelsea's obviously not amazing, but Timber, as an example, all the way through to game week 20, absolutely fine, could clean sheet in any week. Liverpool at home, I mean, even that fixture, they only conceded once to a free kick to Liverpool in the reverse fixture. And then again, you're looking all the way through the season, really. I mean, there's not one fixture that you look at for Arsenal and you're like, they couldn't keep a clean sheet. So I'd simplify it and just go Raya. If you're looking for a solid long-term keeper, Raya's great, but admittedly much less upside than other Arsenal picks. So the other thing that you need to weigh into your thinking is, how many other Arsenal players do I want, and will that block me from another Arsenal pick that you really want? So yeah, it's not as simple as, oh yeah, definitely Raya, but if the Arsenal part isn't a factor, then Raya is the best guy. Who is best to bring in for Xavi? Sharda, Minter, Rogers, Anderson. I'm between Minter and Anderson myself. I do have the options. So I'm selling Enzo this week, I think. So I'm picking between Minter and Anderson. Rogers was in my thinking, but I just don't love the data. Anderson, for me, will probably be my transfer, as boring as it is. The reason being, though, I'll go over to FPL Team. Do check out FPL Team, by the way, if you get a chance. FPL.team, fantastic free tool, like genuinely brilliant and deserves all the love it can get. So I've made one free transfer. Thiago is in. I've got 1.6 to spend because I got him before the price rise. Enzo, for me, probably goes to Anderson, which might not be as exciting as Minter, but I think the next two fixtures are great for Nottingham Forest, Brighton and then Wolves. He'll get DEFCON in both, I think, or very close to DEFCON in both, I think. So that's 4 points across both. And then his underlying attacking data is actually not too bad, about 1 in 4. So, and he might keep a clean sheet, which again, extra point for him. So I think Anderson for me gives me 3 million to spend, not 2.9. And then game week 14, I can sell Rodon and upgrade him to anyone, literally any defender. So it could be Munoz if he's not banned, Virgil van Dijk. I'll move on from that swiftly because I know people won't like that. Saliba as well, so I could double up on Arsenal defence. I could go Gvardiol. Literally, like the world is my oyster, but Rodon gets upgraded. If I go Minter, then I can just about afford those players, but it's very tight. And if there's any price swings at all, I probably get blocked. Plus, also, genuinely, I think Anderson probably matches or if not beats Minter in the next two. And then Minter, I buy for Sarr in game week 15 when he plays West Ham at home anyway. So if we fast forward, actually, let's do the transfer here quickly. So Anderson this week, let's say Rodon to Munoz. Probably not a great example, but just to do the price point. And then 15, Sarr probably becomes Minter that week for me. So if I was prioritising, I like Anderson because it enables that game week 14 move to anyone I like. And then Minter can come in 15 when he's got the great fixture anyway. And then Arsenal's the only one I'm in any way worried about. West Ham, Liverpool's fine. Sunderland, West Ham, Burnley, it's a great little run that. So I would want Minter from 15. You could bring him in a bit earlier if you think he does well in the next 2 game weeks, which he absolutely could. But I've got other factors at play, and those factors are price points for me. So yeah, for me, between Minter and Anderson, if price isn't a factor, then maybe Minter maybe edges it because he's a bit more exciting. But I'm probably going Anderson for the reasons I've just stated. My main thought is Doku versus Foden. Is it 70 minutes versus 90 minutes? And Foden's XGI over the season is better. Think he's just been a bit unlucky, maybe. James, I agree. I think Foden has been a bit unfortunate not to get more returns recently. The data suggests that as well. 0.35 XGI per 90 isn't box office. It's not great. But there's also a few mitigating factors in that. Like, you think the penalty that never was last week, and like in my opinion, should have been a penalty. There are a few other instances where he's been very close to picking up the ball and not quite, or getting his toe on the end of something and not quite. I think Foden's closer to a haul than some people are giving him credit for. I don't think he's been as bad as some people think. Obviously, player-wise, he's been very good, and that's why he's been getting good minutes. But I don't think it's quite panned out in the data just yet. I think it's possibly coming. The only thing I'd be worried about if you were buying him is, could there be a benching against Fulham or rotation? And that's part of the reason that I'm put off, because I could buy him for Enzo this week, and I'm a bit tempted because I think he does really well against Leeds. I think potential haul there, but then the next week it's, again, an ongoing problem for me, potentially, and it locks me out of upgrades elsewhere. So, Foden or Doku? Foden for me. He's just very much my kind of pick for that security. Doku, I think any given week you're looking at the team sheet and you're getting worried. If chasing from a low rank, would you be in favour of playing Roofs and Mukiele at home to Bournemouth and benching Semenyo? I wouldn't be playing tactical games just yet on rank. There will be times to chase. I would play... It sounds so annoying. Like, I hate it when people say the same sort of stuff to me. But in my opinion, it's true. At this point in the season, forget about chasing or trying to gain rank with differentials. I would genuinely pick the players that you think are going to score more points. That's it. Play that way until it gets to a point where you're like, okay, now I either have to play differential or there's no way I'm going to be able to catch them. At this point in the season, even if you're 50, 60 points back, that's 2 points a week. Like, that's not that much. You can absolutely make up that 2 points a week by just playing the picks that you think are going to do well and let other people make the mistakes, because everyone's going to make mistakes between now and the end of the season. Minimize your mistakes and you'll be in the realms 10, 15 points away from where you want to be by the end. And if you need to take a couple of risks at that point, I think that's fine. But I would personally be starting Semenyo this week. I think he plays. I think he's on penalties with Kluivert's risk, and I think he's still got a good chance of hauling. So I would personally play Semenyo. Hopefully that answers your question. Would be shocked to see Pope benched. That's good to hear. Ramsdale is not a starting PL keeper. I mean, in all honesty, I do think Ramsdale deserves to start in the Premier League, but probably not ahead of Pope. I think Ramsdale is slightly given a bit of a hard time by like the media and just public opinion because he happens to have played for clubs that got relegated. As a Southampton fan, I can tell you for certain he was not the problem when we got relegated. He actually saved us a lot of, I almost said points because he didn't really save us any points, but he saved us a lot more than people would give him credit for. It's just that we were so woefully awful. And obviously has had that before as well, with Sheffield United too. I think he's a pretty good keeper. He's a very good shot stopper. I wouldn't have him ahead of Pope, but I think he's good enough to play in the Premier League. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Pope's brain fart ratio is not great. Yeah, I love that. But yeah, fingers crossed Pope starts, but if not, I'll just have Dubravka this week. Sorry, got distracted by my phone there for a second. What's the thinking behind getting 5 strong defenders? Is it to cover rotation? Feels like lots of benching headaches. Well, so to look at my side in particular, it gives me the potential of playing 5 strong defenders during a period where there is going to be a lot of rotation. And if you look, 4 of my 5 are centre-backs who should play 90 minutes every single week. Timber is very close to a 90-minute man, but obviously isn't quite as secure as the likes of Senesi, Lacroix, Anderson, and then if I upgrade Rodon to a Van Dijk, Saliba, Munoz, they're all very secure as well. But I also do have Mark Giu on my bench, so not quite as much depth there. So it'd be nice to upgrade Rodon to give me a little bit more of depth there in case of rotation. And also, if I do downgrade Enzo to Anderson, then I do like Anderson, but he's also a player that I'm never worried about benching. So it gives me the option of going with a 5-4-1 or a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. It just gives me, I always like to have enough about my team to do different systems any given game week. So what I will probably end up doing is having Anderson in my midfield as my 5th midfielder. Thiago is my 2nd striker, who I'll play most weeks, but there might be the odd week, like next week, where I don't want to play him against Arsenal, for instance. And then having 4 or 5 strongish defenders that can rotate in for either of those two works out pretty nicely for me. So that's the thinking. It is mainly to make sure that it covers rotation. And most weeks mapping ahead, it doesn't give me too much of a benching headache, but there will be points left on my bench. Like, I know, put it this way, I know who I would be starting most weeks, but I'm also open to the idea that Anderson, let's say this week away at Spurs, that's the Fulham Anderson, could get points. Like, that's fine, but it also covers me off if Semenyo doesn't play. And last week, for instance, Anderson was on my bench, Semenyo didn't play, but Anderson was there for a very good reason, because some players might not play, and came on with a 10-pointer. Obviously got very lucky, but there is logic behind the decision. So that's the reason. Hopefully that makes sense. Nixie in the chat. Hi Sam, big congrats on 5k. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate your support. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this stream. Thank you all so much. Only thing stopping me from going Raya is I'd need to sell one of Raya, Timber, or Saka to get Gabriel back. Yeah, I mean, you could sell Timber to get back to Raya. Oh god, Timber to get back to Gabriel when fit, but I don't think Gabriel will be back for a little while yet, to be fair, so I wouldn't worry too much, and we'll have those 5 free transfers by then. But granted, that is a potential future problem. So if you're not looking at Raya, even Sanchez might not be terrible long term, but probably not this week given the fixture. For Bruggen, cheaper option, decent fixtures, generally speaking, and rotates pretty nicely with Dubravka, I think. Kelleher's not bad either. Could get behind Donnarumma, but I think it's a bit steep for Man City defence. Yeah, none of the keepers seem to be jumping off the page for me right now, so Raya will probably be the top scoring keeper this year, but equally there are better Arsenal assets out there. So yeah, probably not in my top 3. Buying Thiago, going back and forth on whether to sell Mateta or Voltemada. Mateta's minutes worries me. Oof. I'd probably hold. Wow, that is the question. I think both of them are pretty good holds this week, honestly. Mateta, I'd be more concerned about the Burnley fixture at time of recording in Game Week 14. But of course, you don't want to be selling Mateta for Burnley when Thiago's got Arsenal that week. Out of the two of them, Voltemada's probably the less important to have, but equally, Everton this actually, let's go to Pope for his fixtures here. Everton, Spurs, Burnley, Sunderland. Would it be crazy to suggest just holding on to both of them? You could always roll it and wait. Yeah, tricky one though, because Thiago looks great this week. But sometimes it's about the players you do have, not the players you don't. And I think Voltemada and Mateta are both decent holds. I don't think you need to be getting rid of either of them, honestly. What was the local time for Praz when you recorded the Solio special with him? We were recording at 10 p.m. after the Man United game. I think he's in the UK at the moment. So I think the local time was 10 p.m. for both of us. Oh yeah, let me know, if anyone who watched that, let me know what you thought of that. I am looking at doing more of those with other content creators, YouTubers, doing more collaborations, because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great Game Week 13 preview. Praz was great. So good. I'm really glad I got him on the channel. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. But yeah, really good fun doing that. Easy to record. Didn't have to edit it at all. So yeah, that was just a rip straight off the stream, put it up the next morning. And it's been one of my most successful videos in a long time. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching that, and hopefully it was enjoyable, and let me know who else you want on the channel soon, because I'm in the market. I'm looking for more people. So yeah, fingers crossed we get some more of those very soon. Maybe not next week because we've got such a tight turnaround, but certainly very soon. I'm in conversations with a few people already. Pricey, is Gahey or Lacroix the better FPL asset? I have Munoz already. I went Lacroix. So I can only state the reasons, and I was talking to FPL Pickle about this earlier, who, again, fantastic YouTuber, need to get her on the channel at some point as well. I mentioned Lacroix over Gahey. Gahey's got more attacking threat, or has had more attacking threat this season, but historically, Lacroix's attacking threat has been very good, especially goal threat. He's better on the DEFCON, so more repeatable on the points. Absolutely nailed in for 90 minutes every single week, unless he gets injured. I always have to say that, but his fitness record has been sublime. It just looks very unlikely that he's ever going to get rotated. And there is, however slight, there is that slight doubt over Gahey moving in January because his contract's running out soon. So it could be a move that you have to make later on down the line. I think Lacroix's just boring, but it just works for me. He's exactly the sort of pick I love. 90 minutes, plays every week, good on the DEFCON, good floor for that reason. And also, I think he's understated on how good of an attacking threat he is from set pieces. He hasn't really shown it this season, which is unfortunate. The data's not great. Yeah, 0.06. But last year he picked up 3 XG, only scored 1 goal, but 3.5 XG is not bad for a centre back. So I'm backing him to get a goal or something soon. So I'm going Lacroix, or I have gone Lacroix, sorry. Loads of people in the chat saying congrats on 5K. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, what a day. What a day. I haven't even checked. What am I on now? What am I on? 5,012. That is amazing. That is amazing. Thank you all so much. And if you're not subscribed, do consider doing it. And give a like as well if you fancy as well. I really appreciate that. I'll probably be going for another 10 minutes if you want to get your questions in as well. On free hit, would you consider Gakpo and even O'Reilly slight minutes risks? Yeah, slight. I would be very surprised if O'Reilly didn't start, given that he didn't start in midweek and he has been phenomenal recently. I'd be very surprised. But granted, there is always a risk with any Pep player outside of Haaland and probably Donnarumma. So yeah, I'm maybe 98, 99% sure he'll play. And then Gakpo, probably 90 to 95% sure he'll start. So yeah, slight minutes risks, sure. I would pick both of them on a free hit, personally. That they would both be in for me. If you want to be ultra secure on the minutes, then it's Szoboszlai over Gakpo, just to simplify things, because he's much more secure so far. But Gakpo's got the attacking upside. I'd take a punt on Gakpo. Palmer on free hit 14 if he looks good. Potentially, I think he'll be slowly reintegrated because he's been out for a while, but by game week 14, obviously it's a midweek, so let's wait and see how many minutes he gets against Arsenal. Maresca said he's ready, but that could be ready to play 30 off the bench, it could be ready to play 60, at which point you do worry about the midweek. So I'm not confident enough yet to say definitely starts in game week 14. Let's wait and see how he does in 13. But yeah, in certain situations, let's say he gets 30 off the bench and looks good against Arsenal, then I'll be much more confident and bullish on him starting in 14. And on a free hit, yeah, that would be great. I've already taken out James, Pedro and Stack for O'Reilly, Thiago and Anderson for a -8. Currently have triple captain active on Haaland. Love that. I think he's great for triple captain this week. I really like my team going forward, but free hit is an option too. Yeah, I mean, given you can have Thiago and O'Reilly and wipe out the -8 by just free hitting them in, free hit might be the play. I quite like that. But equally, getting rid of Pedro and Stack are moves that you probably want to make fairly soon anyway. I think I'll say what I've been saying all week. I think if I had free hit and triple captain available to me, I'd slightly prioritize free hit over triple captain, given a fairly template team. Because although I really like this week for triple captain, I think there are other really good options later on in the first half of the season. And because it wipes out the -8 for you, I think I'd probably go with free hit. But yeah, don't let me tell you what to do. always pick your own. Always come to your own conclusions, and I'm just here to help and advise. I'm not the expert. Congrats on the 5K. Thank you, Underdog. Really appreciate that. Am I playing too conservatively to keep Munoz and Timber in my free hit team? O'Reilly and my other defender with Kelleher in goal. O'Reilly is my other defender. I like both of them. I'd probably maybe just pick one of them on your free hit and hedge a little bit. If I was picking one, it'd probably be Munoz. I don't know about too conservatively because there are other ways of playing the game. I wouldn't be critical of yourself if you want to play it that way. But yeah, I mean, personally, I'd probably go with one of them to hedge a little, but maybe not both. And then, yeah, if you've got Kelleher in goal, maybe go with an Aston Villa defender instead of Timber and attack the upside. Or go with Martinez and then a Brentford defender possibly. But again, I'm just telling you to basically what I'm doing is telling you to pick the team that I've suggested earlier. So again, that always apply your own thinking, and don't let me dictate to you what you should do. But yeah, my opinion would be maybe hedge a little bit and go Munoz, maybe not Timber, or one of the two, and include Aston Villa in the defence. Rice or Caicedo on a free hit? Rice for me, I think, is better upside, generally speaking. I'd go Rice. Hello, what do you think of Marlon? I think he's likely to start, but I'm not... Because Emery just doesn't seem to rate him as highly as most of us do, there's always that doubt. So I would pick Rodgers over Marlon on a free hit. But I think he's been brilliant recently. And like, if I was Emery, I'd start him. And if he starts, I think he does really, really well. Great attacking upside. But yeah, there's always that risk with Emery. You just don't know if Marlon's going to actually play. I think the logic would suggest that he should. And if I was picking the team, he should. But because he doesn't seem to rate him as highly as we do, there is that risk. So unfortunately not one that I would be confident enough on a free hit, but I have seen a lot of free hits with him in, so a lot of managers are more confident than me. Assist. Saints 4 wins in a row and 3 points off the playoffs. Yes, we are. We have looked brilliant recently. It's actually so crazy. Should we start being hopeful? Yeah, I think a little bit. I'm nervous of Millwall tomorrow. That'll be a tough game. They've been good this season. But yeah, I think we've looked really good last 2 games. I think the first 2 wins that we got on the bounce, I was a little bit reluctant to get excited because I don't think the performances were great. Last 2 matches, we've really started to click into gear. Not giving up many chances, really fluid, fast counterattacks, like very, very impressive. Finazaz looks much better. Cienza's been amazing. I won't bang on about Saints any longer because we're not here for that, but yeah, I'm much more enthused by us recently, and congrats on 5k. Thank you very much. Off to my girlfriend's Xmas party as a cheeky +1 to a free bar. Love a free bar. Best of luck for the game week. Thankfully it's a late deadline tomorrow with YouTube stream in the morning. Yeah, good luck on your stream tomorrow morning, mate. And yeah, I've seen you're flying this season, so yeah, congrats. I think you're top 100k at the moment, so yeah, massive congrats on that. And yeah, fingers crossed it can keep going, and enjoy that free bar. Don't have one too many and make any mistakes with your team though. Lock down FPL before you have one too many. Congrats on 5k. Thank you so much, Red or Dead. Cheers, dudes. Thank you. God, the chat's going again. Sorry if I miss any. It's moved forward and it's quite hard to scroll back when it does that. Solio free hit is interesting. Dina and Dai and Dango, who I'm not seeing elsewhere. Otherwise, quite template. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd pick any of them on a free hit personally. This is where you apply your own thinking, I guess. Yeah, Dango would tempt me, but I'm always worried about the minutes. Yeah. Oh, none of them are bad picks, I suppose. Trying to keep faith with my Spurs players, but considering benching Xavi for another defender, either Senesi or Richards. Yeah, I'd probably start either Senesi or Richards over Xavi, to be honest. Probably... Who would I start out of those two? Probably Senesi, because I think Man United... Do Man United score? Probably. Yeah, maybe just about Senesi, if I had to really pick. What do you think of triple Brentford attack? Defenders are nothing special. I agree, they're not anything special. But like for me, I'd pick one, but because I'm playing the clean sheet odds a little bit and covering exposure a little bit. Plus 1 or 2 of them aren't bad on DEFCON, but yeah, I completely understand what you mean there. That usually, yeah, they're not that special defensively. So yeah, I don't mind it. If I was tripling up attack, it would be Thiago, Sharda, Dango. Maybe Damsgaard, actually. You could go Damsgaard, another interesting one. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Good reminder that Thiago has the most transferred in curse. Yeah, is he the most transferred in now? Wow. Wouldn't be surprising. He's got a great fixture. Let's have a look. Transfers in 340,000 for Munoz, 450,000 for Eze, and 560,000 for Thiago. He's getting the curse. That is true. Yeah, that means he's blanking. What a shame. What a shame. Thiago will rise in price again tonight. Interesting. I'm glad I moved early on him because I did want to catch that price rise. It would have made future moves very difficult if I didn't. Rice or Saka on a free hit. I mean, if money's not a problem, Saka. But if Rice helps you afford other nice things on a free hit, I don't think it's a terrible downgrade to make. But yeah, all things equal, Saka for me. Praz episode was great. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that feedback. I mean, I basically just sat back and let him give all of the great insights. I tried to butt in where I could, but he was so good. And yeah, we'll get some more really good guests on soon, I think, because that was good fun to do. Who would you bench between Ndai and Mbermo? Ndai probably. And Mbermo's just been amazing recently. He'll get another couple of big chances. And Dyer is on penalties though. Do you have to bench either of them? Who else could you bench? Surely you could bench someone else. But yeah, I mean, I'd start Mbermo. I'd always start Mbermo. I've caught up with the chat. I have caught up with the chat. That usually means it's time to finish the stream pretty soon because it takes me an hour and a half to catch up, and then I have to start thinking about making dinner. Yeah, I actually can't believe the curse. Like, how does it happen every time? There have been a couple of weeks where it doesn't happen. But yeah, it has happened a weird amount of times this season. I wouldn't let it dictate your FPL transfers, though, to be fair. I think it's just a bit of luck. Sharda top midfielder after Salah for projected goals, according to Rob T. Hope he doesn't turn out to be a fraud. Yeah, I mean, I like Sharda this week. Yeah, I mean, Rob T. Actually, Rob T takes from Solio, doesn't he? So let's go with projections for goals for this week. Yeah, Sharda 0.36. So with that in mind, I mean that's just for midfielders. Let's go all positions. Yeah, so where is he? Yeah, he's like 7th, I think. Is that 7th? Yeah. So given he's obviously doing really well for expected goals this week, but it's still worth noting that at 0.36, there's almost a 2/3 chance that he doesn't get a goal. That's the crazy thing about these kind of projections. Like Haaland, I mean, it doesn't work out as like a 98% chance of a goal because he can get 2 returns or 0. So it bakes those in as well with multiple returns. But on average, you're expecting 0.36 of a goal. So it's still more likely that he doesn't get a goal than he does, which is kind of crazy, even against Burnley. But yeah, fingers crossed for anyone getting him on free hit that he does do well. But of course, I'm not free hitting, so I hope he doesn't, weirdly. Congrats on 5k. Sorry if I've missed it, but thoughts on Marlon or Watkins on free hit? If I was picking one of them, it would be Marlon, just because Watkins is a little bit more expensive. It might make other things less affordable, but Marlon obviously does have the risk, as I mentioned earlier on. So again, sorry if you're just joining and you missed it. But yeah, Emery just doesn't seem to rate Marlon as highly as we do, and that's a problem. Mentioned in the chat, Dango at 0.35 for XG, expected XG for the game. That is true. It's cheaper and almost as good, but it's worth noting that that's per 90, and Dango doesn't have the strongest per 90, so he might get brought off early, whereas Sharda's more likely to play the actual minutes. So you might have to take that 0.35 down a little bit because he won't get the full 90 minutes. So he might be more like 0.3 or 0.25 but if he gets brought off early. So yeah, there's more complexity to it. But yeah, Dango, if he plays the 90, is very close to Sharda. Haaland 0.98, yeah, so that obviously weighs in the potential for multiple returns. So he could get 2, he could get 3. So it's not he will get 0.98 of a goal. It's on average, if the game was played 100 times, he's expected to get on average 0.98 goals, if that makes sense. Surprised Solio doesn't think more highly of Foden's goal threat. Yeah, let's have a look at that. So it's really high on Foden from a points perspective because, of course, Foden's also got the expected assists. So Foden's down here at 0.3. That's actually pretty good for a midfielder. That's not bad at all. It's still up in the top echelons. But then also, if we go over to assists, yeah, there you go. He's top, 0.36. So if he gets 90 minutes, he'd be expected to get 0.66 overall in terms of XGI. So that's not bad at all. But will he get 90? And obviously, crazy things can happen, right? Righto. I'm going to wrap up the stream in a second. I forgot to end my poll at any point here. So the results of the poll for the chip plan, 44% free hitting, 36% are like me with nothing planned chip-wise, 17% triple captain. I think Haaland will do really well there. And 3% are wildcarding or bench boosting. So yeah, free hit is very popular. I'm going to have to cross my fingers. Also, I haven't actually looked this up, but I think, yeah, the spread on free hit. So this is going to be a really interesting week for free hit versus non-free hit, because a lot of the free hit sides are playing on the Saturday. So Brentford at home to Burnley, Man City at home to Leeds. Both really popular teams. I think you've probably got 5 or 6 players covered off in those two in the 3 o'clocks. And then the next day, it's the revenge of the non-free hitters, where you've got Arsenal against Chelsea, you've got Man United against Palace as well. That's going to be big for non-free hitters. Obviously, you've still got Aston Villa, Wolves there. You've got West Ham, Liverpool too to fight back. But yeah, it's going to be a dramatic game week. Yeah, Underdog. Yeah, please do like and subscribe. I always forget to mention that. But yeah, please do if you are feeling generous. Any thoughts on Spurs for free here? I guess X-Men's for attackers in Europe probably makes them iffy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're terrible options. I just don't know if I'd have any of them ahead of the Brentford, the Aston Villa, and those are the ones that they're going up against. They're not going up against the Liverpool, Man City so much, but I just don't know if I'd have them ahead. That's all. So Christopher asks, good question, and it is worth answering this one before we leave. How does Solio estimate projected goals for each player? I heard they don't like using anytime goal scorer odds. So they use, let me get this right, they use live markets, not spread data. What's the other one? If anyone from Solio is in the chat, please let me know now and I'll answer this one correctly for me. But Sharp, I think it's called Sharp Market Data. So they take bookies odds, but not bookies. They take betting odds, but not bookies odds, because bookies odds weigh in that extra like 5%, which helps the bookies win money overall. So like, let's say Haaland had an actual 50% chance of return, bookies would price it at like 55 or 45 either way, depending, so that they get that margin in the middle. So the reason Solio uses sharp market odds is to make sure that they remove that 10% in the middle, so that it's true reflective odds, not it's got that margin for error in the middle. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, if you want a really good explanation on that, much better than my own, give Solio Analytics a message on X, or get in their Discord as well, because they're answering all of these questions. They've also done a video on this as well on their YouTube channel, where they explain how they get all of the data, and it is really good. I'm just not as good as explaining it, so I do apologize. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, if you want to go check that out, they'll do a much better explanation than I'm able to. Yes, sorry. So yeah, exchange odds. Yeah, so Betfair exchange instead of normal Betfair. That would be a good example. Thank you in the chat for that. That's much better than what I've just said. On that sunny note, I am probably going to wrap up the stream because it's been an hour and a half and I need to start making dinner. But once again, genuinely, thank you so much, everyone, for hitting like, hitting subscribe as well, especially recently. Getting to 5k today is probably the best thing I've had on YouTube in my 2.5 years. So thank you so much. Onwards and upwards to 6k, 10k as well one day. But yeah, every one of you that likes, subscribes, watches any content, I massively appreciate it, and it makes it all so worthwhile. So yeah, thank you all. Have a great Friday evening. I hope for those of you on a free hit, it all goes really well. And if you're not on a free hit like me, equally, I hope we hold up pretty well as well. If you're on triple captain, I'm extremely jealous. I think Haaland smashes it. It's going to be a really entertaining game week. Hopefully it goes your way. Fingers crossed we all get green arrows in this chat and everyone else not watching can get the red arrows. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Thank you all so much. And yeah, happy Friday. Good luck in game week 13. I'll see you all very, very soon.